Hey, how's it going today? This is the Genius World Soccer Betting Genius. Got a lot of names over here. Basically, talk a lot of soccer. Today, we're going to talk a couple different things. My man from By the Book Bets, Chris Chion's coming on at some point here. So, make sure I'll follow. Make sure we get his Twitter on here. Let's see. CICH. The Big Cheese Show. I'm going to put that on here. And you can watch him daily during the week on By the Book Bets. And you can see me on that By the Books. There you go. At the Big Cheese Show. So it could be coming on soon. I just want to talk a little bit about some of these games here. Let me get these. Share the screen here for us. I'm gonna talk a little MLB at some point today. With I got some interesting MLB plays here. England's winning right now. All soccer Champions League qualification. I'll tell you what, man. Scoopy. Look at Scoopy right now. 0-0 at halftime. And there's a lot of value on that Scoopy team. Zagreb is in a little bit of trouble in that game. Zagreb still might pull it out. Michelin got through on penalties. Sheriff, look at that. Sheriff scored in the 88th minute. And we told you. 1-0 Sheriff. We told you 1-0 Sheriff. Man, we are absolutely killing it. That's plus 450 plus the Sheriff win. Victoria Pilsen, huge 5-0 win. I'm stunned about Punic. 2 late goals there, but absolutely annihilated Dudelange there. So Dudelange is out. We got the games here. Balkany 6-0. Woo. 6-0. Some interesting games though. And England's up 1-0. So doing pretty well. So we shall look at some of these. Games for tomorrow. This Germany, I'll tell you what. Germany-France women's match. I want no part of that game, to be honest. I know you get pretty good odds. England just scored again, so that's 2-0. I think, we talked about them being the better team, and they are, clearly. So England will be in the final at home against either Germany or France. I'm going to stay away from that game tomorrow. Champions League qualification tomorrow. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Before we do all this, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Bet MGM has a great deal. First-time users on their app website. Risk-free bet up to $1,000. We got the Caesars plays as well. I know because we got our guy coming on here, Chris Gian, who works in the Caesar Sportsbook, basically. So Looking at Villarreal and Liverpool halftime, full time. Let me pull that up here. Club friendlies. I don't even see who Villarreal is playing, Bill. I like Liverpool though. I think they need to play, and they got a big game this weekend. Where's Villarreal here? Nantes and Rennes. Eintracht Frankfurt's going to win by about 10 goals tomorrow. Wolfsburg AC Milan's an interesting game. I don't see Villarreal at all anywhere. I think I'm just missing them. I do like Liverpool tomorrow. I see them at minus 177, so that's interesting. Benfica Newcastle 2-2 right now. Interesting game. Foxy's not on. He must be watching that game. Let me see if that's today. Ajax 1-3-1. So that covered. We had that yesterday. A.m. 4:30 a.m. Money while you sleep. Yeah, look, I do like that. Just let me know who they're playing. But yeah, here we go. Here's the problem, Bill. This says Villarreal B against CF Intercity. So you gotta take that. It might be their backup. Yeah, Bill. Look, this Sheriff team is really good. Pilsen won 5-0. They're a good team, but this Sheriff team, they do not allow goals. They're a danger any team they play in the Champions League. I'd like to see what the draw is for the next round. You see here, Union St. Gilloise plays Rangers. Red Star Belgrade, which is Cervena Zvezda, playing Punic. Interesting. Benfica is going to play Midgetland. Oh, man, look at that. Monaco PSV, great tie. Sheriff and Pilsen. Look, man, wow, that's a good tie, man. Sheriff and Pilsen. That's going to be very interesting. I'd like to see some of this. I'd like to see this draw when it's done. There's some good teams coming in next round. This Sheriff Pilsen tie is going to be really good. Yeah, Bill, I watched that game, and I talked to Plus Money about it. They gave up a goal and then scored a goal like 3 minutes later again. And then it was like the 5th and the 8th minute, and then didn't do anything for the rest of the game. I couldn't, it's just ridiculous. I don't think they're going to, they have no chance against Benfica, in my opinion. Benfica lost some players, but this Benfica team should be easily able to win it. Yes, Bill, did you take his advice with Tom Benz? I did not see that score. I'm guessing it was ugly. Let us see here. Oh, no, 0-0. Absolutely nothing happened in the game. Yeah, that Bill, I agree 100%. I thought Midtjylland was outplayed. I thought, they got lucky. They hit the post. Larnaca was really, really kind of hard done by to not win that game. And Midtjylland gets through. The only thing is, like, once again, Benfica here, maybe, I don't know. I mean, they don't have, they lost Darwin Nunez. So it's gonna be interesting to see. And Foxy, I see right here, Benfica and Newcastle 2-2 here. So early in the game too. I don't even know actually, I don't see the time here, but interesting game. We're going to talk some baseball today with the Big Chi, and I have some really good stats I pulled off Twitter from an interesting account, and I just took some of them. So we'll see what they say here. Sheriff and Pilsen today. A couple games tomorrow to finish the part. Yeah, look, I mean, this, once again, Sheriff is really, really good. Sheriff Pilsen next match is going to be tough. But, I would probably side with Sheriff because they don't allow goals. They're very good defensively. But this Pilsen team can score a little bit, obviously, today. So we're going to look at some of these games. So just quickly here for tomorrow. Go through this. Bodo Glimt minus 1667. I mean, I'll take a minus. I took them minus 2.5 today. I don't see that game being close. We'll see if it is or not. I can't imagine it's going to be that close, though. Liverpool halftime, full time. That's a pretty good play, I think. And Shamrock Rovers up 1-0, and Ludogorets just picked up a red card. That could make that game interesting. Liverpool halftime, full-time, plus 133 here. Interesting odds. So, yeah, maybe I'd take a chance there. Yeah, that was a little crazy. Oh, Zagreb scored. Scoopy is getting scuppered. So there's the goal that will take Zagreb through, most likely. Yes, Salzburg is pretty good. They always lose players, but they find a way to replace them with other players. So, they're always going to be pretty good, I believe. So we got to, wow, look at this. We got some of the games already up. Monaco and PSV Eindhoven. That's going to be a really good, interesting time. I like the Monaco team, but once again, they're going to have to replace Tushmeni. And Rangers and USG. USG is going to have to replace their goal scorer as well. Tomorrow, Bodo Glimt. I think minus 2.5 is probably the best play there. This Zurich and Karabakh game, we talked about it yesterday. I just don't trust this Zurich team. They haven't played well. to start the season. I don't know if I like Karabag, but if you force me to take a game and force me to take a thing in that, I'd probably take Karabag plus 0.25 here at minus 107. I think that's decent value. You get 2 of the 3 outcomes. Fenerbahce, once again, Kiev lost a lot of the Brazilians. So Fenerbahce at minus 130. Interesting play. Excuse me. I don't trust Malmo at all. I didn't think they looked good last round. Well, they gave up a lot of goals to a bad team. They lost on the road at Vilnius. Coming home at minus 455. I don't know what the value is in this game here is, minus 1.75. So even if they win by 2 goals, you're only getting half your money. So, I mean, really immediately I would probably say you got to cut it down to 1.5 at minus 134 there. But, you're losing some value if they don't cover the line. I have no feel for this game whatsoever. Ferencváros is the better team, but they lost. So I don't know. Maybe Bratislava is the better team, and maybe they just played poorly in that first tie, the first round, and now they have their feet under them, and they're going to go on and maybe win this thing here. Olympiacos at minus 139. That line continues to move. Ferencváros right now plus 150. Good odds. Bill, I think Liverpool is better. It's just like what this guy Klopp does. Like, who does he play? He's kind of a I don't want to say a clown, but I mean he is, but whatever. That's just my opinion. But like, I just like, is he going to play his guys? If he plays his guys, I think they're in good shape because they're a better team. They should win the game pretty easily. Salzburg is still trying to work through. And remember, Liverpool has a game on Saturday. So, like, everybody's going to play, 40 minutes, whatever it is. He might not play his starters. He's definitely going to play starters 90 minutes. He's going to play a mixed lineup, but he's still trying to get these guys game ready for the thing. Remember, last year, the league came down to 1 point. The Champions League came down to, 1 goal. They won 2 trophies. They almost won no trophies. There's fine margins, so they got to be ready. So I think they're going to be more ready to play than this Salzburg team is. So I think that would be pretty, I think that's a pretty safe bet. I think halftime, full-time is pretty interesting. Oh, it's just my allergies. And then, of course, the Piraeus Olympiacos, Maccabi Haifa. I think I like Olympiacos there. The better team. I don't think there's any MLS until Friday. LAFC Seattle Sounders. We'll talk about that Friday with Kaepernick. Tomorrow, other than that, there's a couple Conference League games. Let's just take a look at that quickly. You got, I just watched the replay, by the way, of that Rakow Astana game. Rakow was down to 10 men and absolutely annihilated Astana. So much so that the tie is over. I mean, it's 5-0. Inter against Cluj. I think Cluj won that pretty easily, 3-0. So many games. It's so crazy. There's just so many games every day. I think Cluj could win this game. I'll take them at -1.5. They could win that game 6-0. Yeah, I think that's what they'll do. They'll probably play, a mix. I would think the starters but I think he'll do that on Saturday as well. Like, I don't think I think Pep and Klopp will both not play their starters 90 minutes in that Community Shield. I think they're still going to try to get into game shape for that. So could be interesting. Thessaloniki. It's just impossible to try to find these games. There's so many games in this tournament, man. Cluj won 3-0. Vorskia is up 3-2, coming back to Greece. So that's interesting. I think I like Thessaloniki there. Gamel Eris won 5-1. So no reason to bet that game, to be honest. Sorry, that's Eris Thessaloniki. AIK lost 3-2 against Poltava. Probably not bet that game. And then you have I don't even have a score for that game. What is going on? This is the only one I really would have confidence in. Cluj, they're just a better team. They're going to beat this Inter Club de Escalades. It's a small country club. There's not a lot to that team. Cluj should win. They're already up 3-0. They should win that game pretty easily, 3-0, 4-0. So I think you could have some confidence in that. Other than that, there's not a lot of games. Yeah, Bill, last night for baseball was one of the craziest. I mean, we're just going to go down the list right now for baseball. The Phillies beat Atlanta. The Tigers beat San Diego. Kansas City. Yeah, that's the thing. Oakland beat Houston. Washington beat the Dodgers. I mean, every favorite lost last night. It's crazy. So tonight, I'm going with the favorites. There's some pretty interesting stats. Let me read you a couple of these from my guy on Twitter. Pull his tweets up here so you can see it. Football betting tips. So Colorado's under 16-2 last 2 years off a game in which 3 or less runs were scored. So the under in that game is 11. Padres over. These are total game totals, by the way. Padres over goes 10-0 last 2 years versus AL teams getting 4.4 more runs per year. So 10-0. Okay, I like money. Logan Webb, 22-2, plus 20.6 units last 2 years versus opponents straining 6.9 or fewer runners per game. So he doesn't get a lot. The team doesn't get a lot of runners on base. He dominates them. Angels are 6-30, minus 21.4 as underdogs this year. Toronto's 4-11 at home, minus 17.7 units this year off consecutive wins. Baltimore 17-7, plus 15 units, all 4 straight home games this year. But the only thing about I'm missing the game here. The only thing about that game is that they're facing Shane McClanahan, so I don't love that one. So we will go over those a little bit when Chris gets on. Hold on 1 second. All right. So for tomorrow, we got all those games. I'm not looking at these too much. You got the club friendlies. You got a couple of them. See if you can get Nance. Wolfsburg plus 700 and AC Milan minus 400. That's interesting. I just don't know enough about those two teams to know who's playing for them. Marseille is plus 155 against Betis. Once again, I just don't know who's playing in those games to see that. So a lot of the Spanish teams are playing friendlies. So that's pretty interesting. Foxy, do you like Germany women tomorrow or maybe both teams to score? That game is tough. It's tough to know who's going to be. France ranked 3rd, Germany 5th. Very even teams so far in the tournament. Wouldn't surprise me to see it go to extra time. Yeah, I think England, Germany, and France are by far the 3 best teams in this tournament. And right now that's playing out. So England is in the final. I would guess it's at Wembley. I don't know for sure, but that would be my guess. I just want to take a look quickly. A little heads up here for the weekend. Liverpool is going to be plus 175 heading into this Community Shield. Manchester City plus 145. The draw is plus 255. Abdi, that's an interesting stat there. No Paul Goldschmidt and no Arnaudo. So that counters some of these other rules. Sometimes you don't think about that. Back heel through the keeper's legs. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, Abdi, I think you make a good point. It's pretty interesting there. Just want to take a look at some of these championship lines here for the weekend. Oh, there is a Friday match. I thought they were kicking off Friday. Huddersfield Town and Burnley. That's an interesting game. Because you got I thought Huddersfield Town would be a little bit higher up the rankings because they made the playoffs last year, but they're nowhere to be found here. They're way down here. They're only plus 110 to make the top 12. Wow. Burnley at minus 400 to make the top 12. plus 1,200 to be the winner. Norwich City is favored to be the winner. Watford, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United. Remember, Middlesbrough has Zach Steffen now. So the championship is going to be pretty good this year. Here's the games that we see this weekend. Blackburn Rovers, Queen's Park Rangers, Saturday, 10 a.m. Blackpool against Reading. That's an interesting line. Blackpool plus 100. I'll have to look into that a little bit. I don't know why Reading would be plus 275. Norwich City at plus 128. Look, Norwich City is going to go down here in this championship. Burnley's going to struggle. Yeah, I think that's right. Norwich is going to go back to the championship and do what they always do. The same thing that Fulham does. They're going to dominate the league. They're going to win a lot of games. They play 46 games. They're going to win 28, 29 games. They're only going to lose if, they're going to be 28 and 28, 10 and 8. I think that adds up to 46. Something like that. You're going to at plus 128 there. That's pretty good odds. It's interesting to see some of these teams coming up. You got Luton Town at minus 112. I think that's pretty good. It looks like I'm going to be over in England for opening day. I will be at Manchester and Brighton on Sunday, so that'll be pretty cool. Rotherham coming up against Swansea City, Middlesbrough against West Brom. And these games are hard to predict. These teams are all Preston North End's getting players from Manchester United on loan. It's pretty interesting. And then Sunderland plays Coventry City. So a lot of tough games to figure out here. Blackburn Rovers. Yes. Blackburn went back to the Iceland, right? The Icelandic connection. Ben Brereton, whatever he's called now, changed his name. He scored a lot of goals last year. But I think that's going to be pretty interesting. So that starts. You got all the other leagues kicking off pretty soon. So that'll be pretty good. Eredivisie is August 5th. My favorite league there. Favorite league to bet. Going to be some crazy games here. Trying to find the teams that went down. I don't know anyway. All right, so most of these are. Oh, England scored again. Wow. 4-0. Wow. Amazing. I think this goal here, second goal, heads go down, game is over. And you're not coming back from that. Foxy got next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You got the return of Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana. Once again, I mean, it's just Brazil and it's basically Brazil. And there's some interesting ties. I'm gonna wait to see some of these as they start to pick up the teams to advance. Nacional against Atletico Go. Some good ties here though. Sao Paulo once again. Sao Paulo Sierra winner probably wins. But it's going to be interesting to see. All right. Look at these Bundesliga markets. Bayern Munich minus 500. Man, if you have like $1 million, just bet that. Can't lose. Who's beating them? Netherlands. Ajax minus 155. Ajax has lost some players. That'll be a little bit more interesting than I think people believe it will be. Let's look at Italy. AC Milan, the reigning champions, at plus 400. Liga MX tonight. Let's take a look at that. Foxy. All right. Oh, yeah. A lot of games tonight. A couple games tomorrow, too. Monterrey. Let's look at the table here. Monterrey with 9 points. Lost. I lost last time out, though. So you got Monterrey against Puebla. Who's sitting in fourth in the table? Monterrey at minus 230 at home. Wow. It's interesting. Atlas against Tijuana. '13th against 14th. Bad game. Juarez against Tigres. Tigres in third. Juarez in ninth. I think I like Foxy. Let me know if you like Tigres in that game at minus 109. I think that's an interesting line there. Leon against Deportiva Toluca is in second and getting 3 plus 300. What? Toluca gets a lot of red cards, man. So you got Toluca playing well and, at plus 300 at Leon. So of these games here, obviously Monterrey looks to be early on, maybe one of the better teams in the league. But some value here if you like Tigres at minus 109 on the road against Juarez. So Monterey leaning towards the Chicago Sky and the WNBA. I took Monterey earlier at minus 150, Leon, Atlas, and Puma tomorrow night. Pumas plays Mazatlan. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good play there. Leon, Atlas. No Tigres, though. All right. And then, Bill, you have the WNBA match game. Chicago at minus 3.5 on the road. So that could be interesting. All right. I'm going to introduce my guest here. We got the big Chi coming on, Chris Chion from By the Book Bets. And he always has me on Monday nights. So got a chance to get him on here and see what he has to say about some of these baseball games. Thanks for coming on here. How you doing today?
Sean, doing awesome, my man. Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, we're doing good. Was outside today doing some weed whacking and swimming by the pool, and just got back from Home Depot. Now digging into baseball. I've got myself a play on the 6:40 game between the Marlins and the Reds. So fired up for that one.
Yeah. So what do you have on that game? I know it's looking at the schedule here. You got Bryce Wilson against Keegan Thompson, and the Marlins are minus 113, Reds minus 104. What kind of play do you have on that?
That's actually the Cubs game going on right now, which, Sean, it's the summertime. Yeah, I just got caught up in yard work, so I missed any action on that one.
Okay.
It's actually Pablo Lopez going for the Marlins. You got Hunter.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it's Pablo Lopez against Hunter Green. Hunter Green, who's got, obviously huge potential, high draft pick, but not a great record so far. He throws hard. So playing here against the Marlins, what do you have here on this game?
I have a play on the Marlins first 5. It's minus 115, so they are the slight favorite. Hunter Green actually has, among pitchers who have gone at least 90 innings, he's got the highest home run per 9 rate, lowest ground ball percentage. So those are just two factors that I do not want to be backing financially. I'd rather be on the fading side there. And then as far as going against right-handed pitching, Marlins, only 5 teams in the National League have driven in more runs against righties than Miami. Now, on the flip side of that, I will say if you want to hedge or you like Hunter Green, Marlins have struck out the second most to right-handed pitching in the National League. So Hunter Green's strikeout prop could be in play as well, especially with, a couple bats missing for the Marlins. But yeah, I like Miami here. I like Pablo Lopez to bounce back. Listen to Don Mattingly a little bit today on MLB Network. And, Lopez has struggled a little bit here after coming out really strong to this year, and, talked about kind of his intelligence and his, he was going through some issues with mechanics, and that happens to guys at this level. So I think he can get back on track tonight. Now, the Reds do have some good bats in here, so I can't say that I'm not nervous about it a little bit here, but Drury, that guy's been on fire this year.
Yeah.
But I'm back in the Marlins here.
It's interesting. I was on Twitter earlier and looking at my guy Joe Duffy, who had these are some pretty good numbers that he brought up from these games just for tonight. So Colorado's under, whenever they play, the game total is 16-2 the last 2 years off a game in which 3 or less runs were scored. The Padres are game total is over is 10-0 the last 2 years versus an AL team getting 4.4 or more runs per game. And Logan Webb is 22-2 last 2 years versus opponents straining 6.9 or fewer runners per game. So I was looking at a couple of those games on here. I don't know if you looked at that. One of the plays too was talking about the the Blue Jays not being very good at home off of 2 consecutive wins, and also how the Baltimore Orioles play well, but they have to face maybe the best pitcher in baseball for the Rays tonight. Any of these kind of those games that they were just talking about there look good to you?
Let's start with this Rays-Orioles game. I was actually at the Orioles-Yankees game this past Saturday. So that was a great time. It was sweltering hot, but as Rob Long, who does pre- and post-game for the Orioles, called it, a magnificent crowd. It was at packed Camden Yards, so that was great to see. Fast forwarding to now, tonight, Camden Yards should be pretty favorable hitting conditions. You don't have that heat wave, but still summertime in Baltimore, ball flies out. The Rays themselves are not a great hitting team just because they've dealt with so many injuries, but Shane McClanahan right now, front runner AL Cy Young here, certainly somebody you want to be backing. But there is something to me about all-star game performances, and then you got to come out of routine. Baseball players, I've heard it been talked about by veterans before, are creatures of habit. And, McClanahan's thrown off of his game here, and the Orioles bats certainly can bring it. Trey Mancini, the reports that he's taking these last few games in an Orioles uniform like they could probably are his last, as he's certainly somebody that could be traded. Now, the Orioles are really kind of nipping at the buds of some of these wild card spots. So I don't know if that's, but you've got Ryan Mountcastle there. My point, Orioles have some bats here. I know that it would look to go to under 7.5 just because Spencer Watkins has been somebody who has been solid for this Orioles team here. That would be my lean, under 7.5. But I think I would probably, Sean, take a shot on Orioles run line plus 1.5 at home here. Tampa's bats just don't scare me enough, even with McClanahan. I think the Oriole bats, guys like Anthony Santander, Austin Hayes, Jorge Mateo, he's had some multi-hit games here in the last 10. Orioles have good enough bats where I think they're going to keep this one close, if not win it.
All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting.
Yeah, we also got Yankees Mets. How do we not talk about that? I don't have any sort of play on that one yet, but absolutely love Taijuan Walker. Taijuan the Don is what I call him here. That one's going to be going down at Citi Field tonight. Jordan Montgomery, I would probably like his strikeout prop maybe a little bit more than to back him. These Mets bats have been playing a lot of overs this year. They're a good hitting team. Pete Alonso having himself an outstanding season here, and guys like Starling Marte bringing it. That's been a good signing. So the Mets would be probably my lean in some. They're actually the slight dog at minus 105, but Mets would probably be my lean. And then you got to. Michael Kopech, he walks too many guys, but German Marquez has been a dumpster fire this year, and it's at Coors. I know you mentioned that stat about the under. Personally, I was on the Rockies over first 5 last night against the Milwaukee Brewers just because hard hit rate, those two guys, but I was a loser there last night. So 11, these totals of 11, Sean,
it's crazy.
It's
I don't 11 runs. Look, if one team doesn't pull any weight, if one team scores 2 runs, you just have no chance to go over in these games. It just 6-5 is a push. So it just these double-digit run totals that you're seeing now have been crazy.
Yeah, and with the Rockies, Chris Bryant's been hurt. You want to talk about a team that I don't really know what they're doing when it comes to their GM. Signing Kyle Freeland, hometown kid, okay, fine. And he looked good last night, and I won't take that away from him, but, signed him to a big money contract. I know it's tough to entice top talent to pitch at Coors Field, but, again, Marquez has regressed tremendously here. They're hitting Jose Iglesias. He got hit by a pitch last night, so we'll see if he makes the lineup here. They just are you building for the future? Are you trying to acquire guys here? I don't know exactly what they got in return in that Trevor Story deal. But they just I don't know if they're trying to win or they're trying to rebuild. But the White Sox, they've got some good bats here too. Even guys like Andrew Vaughn from the corner, he's had like a hitting streak of almost 10 games, something like that going on right now. So I'd be leaning White Sox in this one. Probably not a play in the total for me, but probably a White Sox money line play at Coors Field tonight. And then Frankie Montas, does he pitch well in his audition for his suitors tonight, or does he kind of get nervous? Because let's face it, Oakland's not holding on to this guy. And what a tough task ahead he's got to take on the Houston Astros. But it is in Oakland, and, sometimes at night that marine layer, or I'm not smart like you, Sean. Like, I don't know if it's if it exists or it doesn't exist. I know in the West Coast, though, the ball does not fly out as much in the evening as opposed to the daytime. So maybe the ball stays down. We know how these Astros pitchers are taught to throw at that spin rate and have good ground ball rate. So maybe, again, on the flip side of the conversation we just had about the over 11, 7 is that number of baseball that makes me nervous going under. But that would be my lean probably tonight in Oakland, is to go under 7.
Yeah, it's crazy here. They moved it down to 6.5 with this line. I mean, which is 6.5 is, once again, I mean, you get a 3-run home run, all of a sudden you're busted there. Abdi says he has the Rays Orioles under 4.5 first 5, and then he has Tampa winning, but he likes the under there. I got a question for you for when you look at the futures. I've been talking about this a lot. They finally moved the Dodgers to plus, the Yankees and Dodgers plus. The Yankees are still the favorite to win the American League at plus 155 over the Astros. Does that, to me, the Yankees can't beat the Astros. They've found different ways to lose during the season and the regular season. Does that, do the Astros offer you more value at plus 225? And really, the Red Sox are the fourth choice at plus 1,200. I don't even know why they're there. I think it comes down to the Yankees and Astros. I think the National League is a little more open, but would you take the Astros over the Yankees now, or do you still think the Yankees, maybe they're going to make some trades here and still offer pretty good value at plus 155?
Oh, man, that's a tough one, just because I'm thinking through, and I've had my concerns about Verlander, not his ability pitching, obviously. It would be more so coming off the injury, lasting the entire season, then into the postseason, pitching in high-stress situations against a very potent Yankees lineup led by the best hitter in baseball right now, Aaron Judge. And then Giancarlo Stanton, as long as he is playing and healthy, he goes through those stretches. But by and large this year, he's been healthy. And even guys like DJ LeMahieu. I prefer – now, if I'm looking at lineup, head-to-head, Altuve is the second best hitter when comparing the teams, but top to bottom, and I know Yordan Alvarez is there too, obviously, so how could you leave him off? But, he deals kind of sometimes with injuries as well here. I still take the Yankees lineup here because you got guys at the bottom like Trevino have been delivering with big spots. I know Joey Gallo's been tough this year, no doubt about it. But, what are we going to see out of Josh Donaldson? Is he going to be able to hit with some power in the postseason? That's a little bit concerning too. So I think I give the edge to the Yankees in terms of lineup. When it comes to pitching staff, you can't argue that the Astros are better, but I think Garrett Cole has pitched in these big spots, so he's somebody I would trust as my SP1 going into the series. And, the guys like Severino backing him up, Nestor Cortez, who just had himself an outstanding start, Jordan Montgomery, who we talked about, Jamison Tyon, they could still get somebody at the deadline here as well, too. Montas could be in play. So I do think the Yankees and Dusty Baker, let's face it, he gets his there, but he doesn't always finish the job. Aaron Boone hasn't really done that either, but I kind of maybe agree with the markets. Red Sox I would have had a couple of weeks ago there, but they're guys like Nick Pivetta. Now you got Devers dealing with the wrist. I think maybe their fade is on, and they're talking about dealing JD Martinez perhaps. That would be like unthinkable. I don't see them doing that. The addition of this extra wild card really does open it up to a lot more buyers and sellers. So I would say if you're entering the futures market, maybe you find an edge before the trade deadline, and because the Yankees could end up getting a big time trade and separating themselves a little bit. So if you like the Yankees, maybe the time is now.
Yeah, definitely. And then same thing, the National League, Dodgers obviously plus 175, but you got the Mets and the Braves, the Brewers back at plus 900. I don't, I don't know. I like the Padres a little bit earlier, but I just don't. I don't know how they're going to kind of play out, but you can get them at pretty good value because if they can sneak into the playoffs, you get them at plus 1,000 to win the National League. But I think it's probably between the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Braves at this point. It's pretty clear those three teams are the best teams, right?
Yeah. Could I see an emergence from a team like Philadelphia who has really come on as far as their bullpen was concerned? I mean, that was when Corey Knebel was getting lit up. They finally made that move there. So maybe they bolster the pen here coming up at the deadline. You've got Kyle Schwarber, who's absolutely been roping the ball here. Rhys Hoskins, not the most consistent hitter, but somebody who does have some power. So I wouldn't say they would be long shot odds, but and I'm just kind of like talking hypotheticals here. I still obviously like the top teams, and I still like the Braves again, just because Max Fried is somebody who I think could be in the NL Cy Young conversation when it's all said and done. If he has himself a big time second half here. Mets are solid, no doubt. DeGrom coming back here soon. What are we going to get from him? What are we going to get from Scherzer? Scherzer has gotten hurt in the postseason here recently. So big ifs with the Mets right now when it comes to their pitching staff. And then the Dodgers, Tony Gonsolin, all aside from this past start here, getting it out of his way. Still love them. They're hitting Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner. Justin Turner a little bit banged up right now, but he's somebody who delivers in postseason play. What are you going to get from guys like Cody Bellinger? But Gavin Lux has kind of stepped up there. Will Smith, one of the best hitting catchers. So, yeah, I mean, the NL probably going to come down to the same teams again competing there late into October.
Our guy Bill McDonald, do you like Aaron Nola tonight against the Braves with the Phillies coming off that win over? They got swept by the Cubs. I had them they lost the first game. They're not going to lose the second game to the Cubs. They lost the second game, and they're not going to get swept at home by the Cubs. And then they go out and they beat the Braves on Monday night. So do you like Nola tonight against the Braves?
Nola top 15 in terms of K per 9, and I do believe that this is a Braves team that could strike out against him here. I think like sometimes with Aaron Nola and his starts, it's like the Phillies defense doesn't exactly back him up, or like weird things happen, right? I would probably side with Nola just because I like the price better a little bit there. He is the slight dog. Spencer Strider going into Philadelphia. This could be a team that does a little bit damage against him. So I think price-wise, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to take a nibble on Philadelphia here. I think I maybe like that side, yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so that's pretty much the show today. Do you want to give any shout outs for your show? It's coming back on soon. What do you got going here?
What do I got going? So August 22nd, we come back. I will be on Greg Peterson's baseball betting show, sponsored by VSiN, coming out Wednesday. And then, I'll just be mowing the lawn, waiting for my baby to be coming here September 6th, and prepping for the football season. So at the Big Cheese Show on Twitter, holla at your player here.
Yeah, are you excited? I mean, college football starts in about 4 weeks here, and obviously the USC thing and everything. I mean, you excited for college football and NFL and all this stuff starting here?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I had this feeling going into college football with just the ever-changing landscape and then teams moving into different conferences and transfer portals. I was kind of worried that maybe it would dampen my enthusiasm, but I know that first time Alabama runs out of the tunnel or we see a marquee game, I'll be totally ready for that. And yeah, I'm excited to maybe see some teams hopefully take some next steps here. USC, who my time in college with Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush,
Yeah.
they were that team to watch on a Saturday night, and that has really gone away. So maybe, with a new sheriff in town there, a new quarterback, they could be a lot more exciting and bring football back to the West Coast.
Yeah, right now, the sports books, I know that's their biggest nightmare is if USC wins the title, because a lot of people had them at 40-1. Now they're down to 20-1, but that's their biggest exposure here. If USC ends up winning it, getting into the playoffs somehow and winning the playoff, they're going to get destroyed there. But we'll see. We'll see. They're 4-8 last year, so we'll see. I don't know if they're going 13-1 or 13-0 this year after a 4-8 season, but who knows? Weirder things have happened in college football. So,
you're right.
All right. So that's our show for today. Thank you for the Big Chief for coming on, and make sure you're watching that. You can watch it every Monday through Friday from 5 to 7, correct?
6:30.
Starting 5 to 6:30 on
right now we're 6:30. Yep.
All right, cool. 5 to 6:30 on. And you can watch it on Twitter and on Monumental Sports Network as well. So, and we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be talking a little Europa Conference League and all kinds of the weekend. There's everything, like this big weekend for us over here because everything starts. We got the Manchester City and Liverpool and Ajax and PSV, and all the big games are this weekend. And then the Premier League starts, and I'll be over in England. So, it's a good time for the World Soccer Betting Genius show here. So, but thanks for coming on, Chris, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you in a couple weeks on By the Book Bets as well.
All right. Peace. All right, Sean. Thanks for having me, bro.
Definitely. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. So thanks for watching.